Here's the blockbuster development in this whole Russia investigation, bringing together the two most formidable thorns in the president's side, special counsel Robert Mueller and...
Mr. Cohen, can you just talk to us? Mr. Cohen, just...
And the man who has known Trump's deepest secrets for years is his personal attorney, Michael Cohen. Today, Cohen signed a plea agreement in court after admitting that he lied to Congress. And no, this is not the first guilty plea for Cohen. This is the first time, though, that it is with Mueller's prosecutors. Today's plea deal was about a proposed Trump Tower project in Moscow. Cohen testified the conversations ended in January of 2016, but court documents detail Cohen was talking and coordinating regarding this project as late as June of that year with multiple people, including then presumed Republican nominee Donald Trump. A short time after Cohen appeared at that plea hearing in downtown Manhattan this morning, the president defended himself by going after Michael Cohen.
He was given a fairly long jail sentence, and he's a weak person. And by being weak, unlike other people that you watch, he's a weak person. And what he's trying to do is get a reduced sentence. So he's lying about a project that everybody knew about. I mean, we were very open with it. We were thinking about building a building. I guess we had in a form, it was an option. I don't know what you'd call it. I decided ultimately not to do it. There would have been nothing wrong if I did do it. If I did do it, there would have been nothing wrong. That was my business. So he's lying very simply to get a reduced sentence.
Okay, quick fact check. Very few people actually knew of this Trump Tower project in Moscow at the time. It came to light after the presidential inauguration. And here is why Cohen's plea deal with Mueller matters so much. Among the many questions, it raises the possibility of Trump concealing his business dealings with a foreign power, in this case, Russia. It also raises the questions of whether the Kremlin had leverage over Trump while he was a candidate and as people were voting for him all through the primary season that spring. And finally, think about what this may mean for the future of the Russia investigation. We know that Cohen has shared information with Mueller's team at least 7 different times, and through this plea agreement, Mueller has put on court record that Cohen is telling the truth. We start with the guy who was shouting questions this morning in downtown Manhattan. I have with me CNN crime and justice reporter Shimon Prokopez, getting into the specifics of what Cohen said. So what did he say he had testified initially to Congress, and where was he lying?
Right, and where he was lying was that he claimed he had briefed the president on it. He and the president did not have those conversations during the campaign. Well, given specific dates, well after the political season, it's clear what he says he was doing was trying to protect the president here, trying to minimize the impact of the Russia investigation as it related to him running for president. And what we have again is another instance of Michael Cohen here admitting that he was trying to protect the president. There's a cover-up here, right? A continued cover-up that he was part of to try and protect the president during the campaign from certain details getting out that could potentially affect the campaign and that also could potentially help the Russia investigation. So that is essentially what Michael Cohen admitted to doing. And the other thing that we learned today, which is really important, because we've been asking a lot of questions about whether or not the special counsel would believe Michael Cohen, whether or not he would have any credibility with the special counsel. Well, clearly now we know he does. And that is a big deal in terms for this investigation. And it is something that the president and his legal team and the president's family is certainly concerned about and should be concerned about, because there are many more things that Michael Cohen has told the special counsel that we just don't know about.
Despite Cohen's relationship with the truth in the past and all these 70 hours cumulatively that he spent with his special counsel, there is clearly a reason why Bob Mueller thinks he is telling the truth. Shimon, thank you so much. Let me just remind you of also a huge takeaway from today. The plea deal makes clear that the special counsel believes Michael Cohen has been providing, to Shimon's point, truthful information, and they expect him to continue to do so. So let's go to CNN's Kara Scannell. And Kara, take us inside this plea agreement.
Well, Brooke, we've learned quite a bit of information from this plea agreement that Michael Cohen has been giving these proffer sessions, which is where he's going in and telling the special counsel's office everything he knows that could be of value since August. 7th. Now, he's been in there 7 times and continuing until just a couple of weeks ago. So he's been providing a lot of information to them over all of these meetings, and we didn't really know the extent of his cooperation. And they're also saying as part of this deal, because he's pleading guilty to 1 count of making a false statement, that he would receive between 0 and 6 months in prison. He still has the other charges that he pled guilty to in August, which he will have to face the sentencing on as well. But this deal with the special counsel's office is a short period of time, which also shows that they're valuing his cooperation. And it's very interesting in here also, when it outlines the extent of his cooperation, the willingness of the special counsel to stand up at that sentencing for those other charges, where they're going to say he's been a good cooperator. It says that they would do this on the condition that Cohen continues to respond and provide truthful information regarding any and all matters that the special counsel's office deems to be relevant. So they are anticipating him to continue to cooperate with them as this investigation unfolds. And we know that Cohen, as President Trump's longtime attorney, has been in the Trump organization and by the side of the president for at least 10 years, Brooke.
Kara, thank you very much. So much to discuss. With me, a trio of CNN legal analysts, former FBI Special Agent Asha Rangappa, former federal prosecutor Ellie Honig, and former prosecutor Paul Callan. So let's just dive right in. Asha, to you. First, just put in perspective why this Moscow project lie is such a big deal.
So there's a very short-term, concrete way that it matters and a big picture way that it matters. The short term is that Trump just turned in his answers to Robert Mueller. He was undoubtedly asked about this Trump Tower timing. If he lied about it, Mueller now has information that proves that he would have lied, because he knows that Cohen lied. This is a problem for him.
Yeah.
In the big picture, as you mentioned earlier, this is about foreign influence and self-dealing. These are the 2 things that our framers of our Constitution wanted to avoid in anybody becoming president of the United States. And it was at play during Trump's campaign, and he did not disclose it to the American public.
National security issue?
National security issue, because even though he didn't go through with it, the fact that it was concealed is something that the Kremlin has in its back pocket as something they can hold over his head like a sword of Damocles for the entire presidency.
Let's get back to the sword of Damocles and why that could be key in a second. But to you guys, just also reminding everyone, I know it feels like forever ago, but June of 2016, Trump Tower meeting in New York. Also when we as Americans went through that entire primary process, so people were voting, Trump becomes the nominee in May. We know that they're figuring out, the RNC platform, all of this happening, sort of Damocles weaves back in here, maybe a sweetener with Russia, we don't know, right? Just the timing is important.
It's all about the timing. The dispute here, so to speak, is did the Moscow project end in January 16 or did it go to June of 16? Cohen testified in Congress, it was over as of January. Now today it's revealed that it went to June 16. Trump then gets out and says Cohen's lying, but he's not lying. We know it from this court document. They have texts, they have emails from May and June of 16 showing the Trump org still working with Cohen to try to get approval for the Moscow project. Trump also said, who cares? Project never happened. What's the difference? The who cares is Trump org needed to get approvals from the Russian state to do this project. And so Trump is in a position deep into the campaign, as Asha said, of needing to please the Russian government.
Trump stands in front of the White House today and he says, essentially, no big deal. I didn't think I was going to win. I'm a businessman. I was doing both at the time, that there would be no problem with that. Explain why there would be a problem.
Well, there would be a problem for a couple of reasons. First, while this project was going on, according to Michael Cohen and believed by Mueller, you had the Republican National Convention occurring in the summer of 2016. A platform was being prepared that had to do with how we treat Russia, how we treat Ukraine. Now, you have to fast forward to the election itself, what a close election it was with Hillary Clinton. If the voters knew that Trump was trying to work a project in Moscow to help his business while running for president, would that have shifted enough votes to shift the election? I think you can make an argument that it may very well have changed the election.
Yeah.
Point number 2 is let's go after the first of the year. Trump is sworn in January of 2017. This testimony that was submitted to Congress by Michael Cohen occurred after he was sworn in as president. Now, you have to say to yourself, is it likely that Cohen would have told Trump, who, by the way, he was on very good terms with at the time, he was his personal attorney, negotiating the Stormy Daniels deal and other things, right? So would he have mentioned to Trump, this is what I'm going to tell Congress? It seems to me that you might mention that, your personal attorney, to the person you work for. So did Trump know that he was submitting false testimony to Congress? Did he aid and abet in the submission of the false
All
testimony?
excellent questions.
That's it.
You bring up the fact that he was so loyal with Trump for so many years, and he's also had this, as I was saying to Shimon, kind of loose relationship with the truth, right? So why is Mueller so convinced now he is telling the truth?
Because he has evidence to back it up. I don't think that Mueller would place all his faith in Michael Cohen's testimony alone. He is pleading guilty to charges of, lying on his taxes and concealing campaign contributions. So he's not a fully trustworthy individual unless what he says can be corroborated. And as Ellie just said, this means that he has texts, emails, other witness testimony, intelligence perhaps, that substantiates what Cohen is saying.